Open session for board meeting 1635 is called to order. Dr. Lake, do we have any changes to the agenda?
Yes, we do. We are requesting the addition of agenda item 9.22, anatomic table purchase request and procurement authorization. This item is being added for good cause due to the time-sensitive June 1st expenditure deadline associated with the grant funds.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Andy and a second by Jen. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0. At this time, I would like to invite our early childhood students to come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if everybody would please stand.
All right, don't go too far. I'm going to say your names, and then we're going to have a special gift real quick. Dr. Lake is going to hand you something, okay? All right, so we have one ECE student representing each elementary school. And so as I say their names, I'll share where they're heading. So we have Phoebe Overson and Miles Overson are heading to Crestwood. So Phoebe and Miles, go see Dr. Lake right over there. Right there. All right, stay right up here. We're going to take a picture in a minute. I have Owen Marsh, who is heading to Concord. Woo. That's Owen, yep. Miyoko Stambaugh is heading to Long. Miyoko. Yep. Harper French is heading to Kennerly. Harper, sit around. Aiden Berghart is heading to Dressel. Right here. Hold out. And and then our last one, unfortunately, couldn't be here. Brooklyn Chadwick is heading to Sappington, but she's not here tonight, so I'll take it to her.
All right, friends, come over here. We're going to take a picture.
All right, go stand by Dr. Lake. Go stand by Dr. Lake.
You know, this is my favorite board meeting every year.
Sorry. Get close to Dr. Lake. There you go. Smile pretty. Yeah. They're the best. Woohoo! Good job, guys. Am I just heading into mine? Okay. All right. I have a few of our staff members to recognize as well. First is Jessica Schroeder. She was our 2024 and 2025 Teacher of the Year. We'd like to recognize Jessica for the positive impact she has in our school community. She's a dedicated special education teacher and a true team player who consistently supports both our general education and special education teams. Jessica is a great resource, especially in creating and supporting social-emotional learning for our students. She brings positivity, collaboration, and a strong commitment to her work every day. Now in her third year as a member of the Lindbergh team, she continues to make a meaningful difference for both our students and staff. Jessica, thank you for all you do.
Jessica needs to come up. Yeah, you need to. Jessica, we have for you is a certificate recognizing you as Teacher of the Year, so congratulations. And then we have a gift certificate to our online Spiritware store, $30, so you can get some good swag. There you go. All right, we're gonna do a picture really quick, Dave. Let's come back here. Put you in the middle. Great, congratulations.
Okay, and Megan Fisher, please come up. We are celebrating Megan Fisher as our support staff employee of the year. Megan is our administrative assistant supporting both of our buildings. And as the front desk, she also coordinates our staffing. Megan is often the first face our students, families, and staff see each day, and she is truly a VIP at our front desk. Students notice when she's not there and get very disappointed when she's not there to greet them in the morning. Megan is incredibly reliable, supportive, and helpful, and she brings a sense of positivity and care that brings a lasting impact on our entire school community. Megan, thank you for all you do and for who you are. Okay. Now celebrating all those amazing students and people, we get to talk a little bit about what we accomplished this year at ECE. So on the next slide, you will see our student growth and achievement. So this year we transitioned our grading system to Infinite Campus to align with the rest of the district. And one benefit of this transition was the access to EduClimber data, allowing us to effectively analyze student growth and identify those areas of support as needed. The data demonstrates significant growth across all grade levels in students' social emotional skills. So when looking at the data on the left side of the first chart, that represents our 2- and 3-year-old classrooms from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. And the second chart represents our 3- to 5-year-old classrooms, again, for the beginning of the year to the middle. So as you can see, our SEL skills are consistent and they're vertically aligned across all grade levels, demonstrating a clear developmental progression. This shows that students are meeting expected standards in a developmentally appropriate way, and that our pre-K students are building the foundational skills necessary to support their success as they transition to kindergarten. As a building, we also focused on our universal supports in the areas of relationship building, physical environment, classroom expectations, and instructional strategies. Strengthening our Tier 1 universal practices supports the effectiveness of our multi-tiered support system and helps us to ensure that students receive research-based Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions as necessary. Another area that we have improved is our PLC structure. This year, we restructured our PLCs to create complete collaborative teams that include both general education and special education teachers. We also implemented flexible collaboration opportunities, allowing teachers to meet with the teams, administrators, or colleagues across classrooms to problem solve and support student needs more effectively. This impact of this collaboration was especially powerful for our students who are dually enrolled in both our general education and special education classrooms, because teachers now have the intentional opportunity to discuss how students are performing across both of those settings and to use their combined expertise to share the strategies and ideas that best support individual needs. The ongoing collaboration has also expanded instructional strategies in both our general education and special education classrooms, strengthening consistency, increasing the responsiveness to student needs, and enhancing overall student support. Lindbergh Life Success Skills truly serve as the foundation of our structure and learning at ECE. The 6 skills, intentionally embedded throughout our lessons, daily interactions, and play-based learning experiences. During the month of May, we as a team decided that we wanted to expand the traditional Week of the Young Child, sponsored by the National Association of Education of Young Children, into a month-long celebration highlighting early learning, children, teachers, and families. Each week, we focus on a different theme, including Strong Bodies, Growing Minds, which supported children in recognizing their strengths while building both gross motor skills and cognitive growth. Arts and Imagination, which fostered creativity and critical thinking. Collaboration and Creation, which emphasized teamwork and shared problem solving. And Music and Movement, which supported community building, joy, and exploration through active engagement. In addition, every classroom hosted a family engagement activity, inviting families to participate alongside their children and experience learning together in a meaningful, hands-on way. Throughout the year, we also partnered with organizations and groups, including the St. Louis County Library, Lindbergh High School, Truman Middle School, SFE, Ronald McDonald House, and central office staff members who volunteered as our flyer buddies. These meaningful collaborations strengthen our school community, build relationships across all ages, and provide valuable experiences that enrich learning for all of our students. Oh, you're fine. Employee well-being is an area of significant growth and pride for our building this year. During the Spring Culture and Climate Survey, 83% of our staff members participated in providing feedback. And of those 86 staff members who responded, 100% indicated that they enjoy coming to work each day. At the beginning of the school year, the focus words that guided my leadership were appreciation and connection. Throughout the year, we intentionally worked to strengthen both areas through the support of our outstanding PTO, the creation of our Positive Impact Team, a dedicated staff appreciation week in February, monthly cheer carts hosted by our PTO, and building-wide events designed to bring staff together. These efforts have helped foster stronger relationships, increase staff engagement, and continue building a positive and supportive culture where employees feel valued, connected, and supported each day. And I feel like we showed up tonight as well. Student satisfaction can be difficult to measure through traditional data sources with our youngest learners, but it's clearly evident when you walk through our building and into our classrooms. Across ECE, you see children who are engaged, happy, actively learning through developmentally appropriate experiences designed to support both academic and social-emotional growth. In our classrooms, you will see creativity, collaboration, friendships developing every day. You will see students learning to navigate big emotions, solve problems, communicate with others, and build independence in a supportive environment. Most importantly, you will hear laughter, music, conversation, and joyful learning taking place throughout the whole building. ECE is truly a place of joy where children feel safe, connected, supported, and excited to learn each day. It was challenging to capture personalized learning in just a few examples because at ECE, personalized learning is embedded throughout all of our classrooms. Our teachers intentionally build learning experiences based around student interest, curiosity, and engagement, allowing children to take an active role in their learning. At any given point, you may walk into an Amazon workshop, you may walk into a veterinarian office, or a doctor's office as well. The two examples on this screen, though, are from our pre-kindergarten classrooms, and they truly highlight what personalized learning looks like in our building. The first example comes from one of our pre-kindergarten classrooms and focuses on literacy integration. This teacher begins the lesson with a high-quality children's book and then develops hands-on lessons and activities that incorporate early learning standards. In the project that I observed, the students read the book Izzy Gizmo, a story about young inventors. After reading and discussing the text, students participated in activities that involved tools, building, problem solving, and designing their own inventions inspired by the story. Another pre-kindergarten classroom engaged students in a research-based animal project. Students selected an animal of interest, researched facts about the animal, created a habitat model, and developed a story connected to their learning. This year, students also recorded themselves using their stories, and QR codes were attached to their projects so that families and visitors could listen to their story, or the students share their work independently. These projects are just a small glimpse into the personalized exploration, creativity, and student-centered learning experiences that take place every day at ECE. We are proud of the work that we do at ECE, and as you look into the audience, you will see just a few of the individuals in attendance who help make this work so meaningful and impactful each day. Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin. Okay, I am happy to announce that we have the DESE Director of Literacy and Secondary Schools with us, Lisa Scroggs. So Lisa, would you please come up for your presentation?
We're good now? There we go, thank you. This is a tough act to follow. During the month of May, I'm going around to several school board meetings to make presentations, and I will say this one is the most fun. So, and also really, really appreciate all the teachers and parents are doing to help these little ones get a great start in life. Thank you so much for what you do. So I'm here to present some exemplary school library program awards. Established by legislation signed into law in 2018, the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's exemplary school library program recognition is in its 6th year. The purpose of the initiative is to assist school libraries in Missouri in providing the best support possible for students, teachers, and communities. Scoring for ESLP is done by a team of 8 experienced school librarians from throughout Missouri. Applicants must score at least 90% of points possible without receiving a score of 0 on any of the 21 indicators. Applicants are evaluated on instruction, leadership, library environment, library management, and staffing. On behalf of the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, I'm pleased to announce that among this year's 14 Missouri school libraries being recognized are 2 from the Lindbergh School District. Dressel Elementary School under the direction of librarian Kristen Hill, and Sperring Middle School under the direction of librarian Emily Hines. I would also like to extend appreciation to the Lindbergh School District's building and district leaders and paraprofessionals in our school libraries who recognize the importance of strong school library programs and work to support them. At this time, yes, I definitely. At this time, I would like to present to Kristen and Emily resolutions from Missouri Representative Michael Burton and Senator Doug Beck, along with a resolution from the Missouri State Board of Education. Please join me in congratulating these librarians on their outstanding programs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, at this time, I'll have Stella give our student report. Go ahead, Stella.
Hi everyone, good to see you guys again. May has been a very great month for the Flyers. So starting off strong, we celebrated the Farmers Club ceremony on May 6th, and it was really great to be a part of that experience and see all the kids smiling when we were shoveling the dirt and serenading, and it was very fun. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the progress of the Farmers Club and all the cool experiences that the students will have. Currently at LHS, students are studying for our upcoming finals next week, and the seniors had their last day of school last Friday and walked through their elementary and middle schools, which is always fun to see the pictures of that. Additionally, every year the seniors pull a prank at the high school, and this year's prank was very funny and it got all of the students engaged and laughing. So the prank this year was the seniors hired a mariachi band to follow Dr. Cochran around all morning. So that was fun for all of us to be a part of that too. And additionally, his daughter Kristen Cochran allowed the senior class to eat breakfast at Dr. Cochran's house. So it was a great way to end the class of 2026's school year. This past Friday, the girls' track and field team hosted conference at the high school's new and improved track. JV took first and varsity took fourth. We all had a great time and we loved showing off our new track. On April 23rd, I got the opportunity to tour Truman Middle School. And I was amazed by the new school structure because I thought I would know my way around, but I had no idea because Truman looks completely different now. The students mentioned how they feel safe and welcomed around their teachers, and they enjoy all of the clubs Truman provides. Fletcher Davidson said he loves student council because he can physically see that he helped improve the school, whether that's with activities, fundraisers, or even just posters around the school with positive messages on them. At Truman, the students clearly care about each other, and they want everyone to feel welcome. Dr. Mason was at our meeting, and the students discussed possibly adding a second Unity Week during the school year to keep awareness of bullying top of mind. The students agreed that this could support anti-bullying efforts even more. They all smiled when we were talking about that. Next, the LHS Orchestra is having their annual Flamingo Flock fundraiser. So what that is you donate $25 to $30 and you nominate a family or friend, and their front yard gets flocked with plastic flamingos. And it's a great way to end the year and keep everyone on their toes because nobody knows that they're getting it done. Additionally, Music-thon happened during May. I didn't put this in my report, but it's been an annual tradition at the school. So it's any music group, so it could be the ukulele club, band members, they play music for 32 hours straight. So it's 1 a.m, they're playing ukuleles or they are singing. So all the money goes to Alex's Lemonade Stand, which is a cancer foundation. So it was very fun to be a part of that and hear them during lunch. Lastly, I would like to congratulate our band, choir, and orchestra students who traveled to the University of Missouri this past Saturday to perform in the Misha State Solo and Small Ensemble Festival. I'm just going to list a few of the people because there was a lot of people that went. So Elena Adams was a vocal soloist, Holly Davis, she had a cello solo, and lastly, Briley McKenney, she played the flute. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stella. We'll move on to consent resolutions. There are 4 this evening. Do I have a motion to approve the consent resolutions as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Megan and a second by Rachel. Was that correct? Jen, sorry. Before we vote, I'll say these resolutions are resolutions of commendation and recognition brought before the board for collective approval. Tonight's items honor the excellence of our staff, from our 2026 teachers and support staff of the year to those recognized for their work with St. Louis Community College. We are incredibly proud of our partnership with St. Louis Community College and the impact it has on our families. Tonight we are honoring Emily Holland, Sharon Henry, and Matthew Greiner as nominees for the highest tuition savings for dual credit. Furthermore, a special congratulations to Matthew Greiner for receiving recognition for the largest tuition savings overall for the 2025-2026 school year. These resolutions present not just academic excellence, but a significant head start for these students as they move towards their higher education goals. We congratulate all of you on this achievement. So now we'll vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries 7-0. All right, we'll move on to citizen communications. There are none this evening, so we will move on to communications, and I will turn it over to Ms. Voss for the announcements, calendar of events, and upcoming board agendas.
Okay, my first announcement kind of follows up on the resolutions you just read. We're proud to share that Lindbergh Schools was highly recognized at the St. Louis Community College School District Awards Luncheon this past week. Our district was honored for its outstanding performance during the 2025-26 school year. In the district-wide categories, Lindbergh was named as a nominee for the highest average savings per dual credit student and highest average savings per dual enrollment student. Beyond those nominations, we are thrilled to announce that Lindbergh Schools won top honors for most dual credit students and most money saved overall, and it was just under $1.8 million this year saved for our families from those programs. It is incredible. Our staff members were also individually recognized. Emily Holland, Sharon Henry, and Matthew Greiner were nominees for the highest tuition savings for dual credit students, and Matthew Greiner received the formal award for the largest tuition savings for dual credits for the 25-26 school year. These awards reflect our commitment to providing college-level opportunities while reducing the financial burden on our families. For the calendar of events, we have May 20th, high school graduation. May 22nd is a half day of school and our last day of the second semester. May 25th, the district will be closed in observance of Memorial Day. June 5th and 12th, our offices will be closed as we begin summer hours. June 11th, there will be a finance advisory meeting because those take place in the summer too. June 16th, our next Board of Education meeting will take place. And the upcoming board agenda on June 16th, the tentative agenda items include central office recognitions and a special resolution for the LHS graduating class of 26, student meal prices for the upcoming school year, final bus routes for the 25-26 year, and for student transportation annual contract escalation.
All right, thank you. I will now open it up to report of meetings. Does anybody have any meetings they would like to report on? Okay, I don't hear any. So moving on to MSBA board report. The MSBA board report will not be shown tonight, but it is linked in our agenda on Diligent Community for anyone who would like to watch it. All right, moving on to special reports, we will receive reports from the cabinet and their updates. We'll start with you, Beth Johnston.
Thank you. The Communications Advisory had our last meeting last week. So we reviewed our communications compass goals for the 26-27 school year. And much more exciting than that, we had special guests. We had the editors-in-chief of the Lindbergh High School Spirit Yearbook who came and presented their book to us and shared all the work that went into designing that award-winning publication. And they got some great feedback from the professionals in our group.
Thank you. Tara Sparks.
Student life has not met since our previous Board of Education meeting. However, Teaching and Learning Board Advisory did meet for the final time on April 21st, and this was the meeting where we also joined with the Secondary Standards-Based Learning Task Force and learned of the steering committee's full work in implementing the recommendations that came out of last year's Secondary Standards-Based Learning Task Force. So we were able to present that information and garner some final feedback. Our families can expect communication going out next week that summarizes what changes they can expect to see in secondary grading practices in the 26-27 school year.
All right, thank you. Dominic Jaggi.
The Technology Board Advisory met and we went over our technology survey results. So from that, we looked at the results from the technology support, which we had really positive feedback for technology support, 90+ on getting good support. We also looked at the other thing we looked at was probably the most notable thing in the technology survey was the parents' balance on technology. We asked the question on balance of technology. So the parent feedback on that was about 68% of parents thought we were doing too much technology. So, and then the students, there was about 20% thought we were doing too much technology, and then there was some comments from teachers that thought maybe we were doing too much technology. So that was probably the most notable thing from it. But everything else in it was pretty positive. Communication, potentially, communication on the balance of technology too. There was some comments on that, so those are probably the most notable thing from our technology survey.
Was there any way to break down what grade level the comments were on whether they thought there was too much or not too much? I think that would be interesting.
I should have addressed that too. So the technology survey, we had about 6% of parents fill out the survey, and out of those 6%, it was heavily leaned toward elementary schools. So it was elementary, and it kind of fell across all of the surveys for students, staff, and parents. It was the most participation came from elementary, then middle, then high, and that was true across all of them. And as far as parents, I can't really tell because we didn't want to ask them to fill out a survey for every student. So we had them check boxes. So it's hard to tell. They may have had a 4th grader and a 12th grader because we didn't want to make them fill out a bunch of surveys. So it's kind of hard to say if that was elementary or high, but I can say that the participation was the most from elementary.
All right, thank you. Joelle?
We had both advisory groups meet this month. Facility advisory met, of course, go over Prop R and what's happening there. We were able, that was the day we got our change order that's being presented tonight from BSI, which was almost $1 million credit, so we got to tell that to the Facility Advisory Committee. They were the first to hear about it, so that was kind of nice, because normally they hear about it after the board and the Finance Committee. We did that, and then we talked about some of the Compass goals, or things that we're looking at in the future in regard to facilities. Finance Committee met, we talked about the agenda. There's a lot of things on there. There was a lot of, I should have had Tara at the meeting, because there was a lot of teaching and learning things on there, but we had Julia that knew some things that, that serve in your committees. So there was a lot of getting ready for the next year, purchases. We talked a lot about that, budget amendments. Again, we got to review the change order and talk about that positive note for the prop budget. There was a lot on the agenda. We went over finances a little bit. We're just in the part of the year where we're just waiting to see how it ends. We don't have any giant surprises on the revenue and expenditure side. We're just trying to get through the next couple months and see how things balance. We did go over classified salary schedules a little bit, just how those worked, and that it was, we didn't have to negotiate this year. That was the second year of an agreement.
All right, thank you. And Brian McKinney.
Our group did not meet this month, but we are scheduled to in June.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to action items by consent. Are there any consent agenda items anyone wishes to remove for individual consideration?
I do not wish to remove any items, but I will be abstaining from the portion of the financial report that pertains to Ameren Electric due to a conflict of interest. I consent to the remainder of the agenda.
And I do not wish to remove any items, but I will be abstaining from the portion of item 9.04 that pertains to my mileage reimbursement. I consent to the remainder of the agenda, but I do have one quick question for Dr. Sparks on the Wayfinder contract that I'd like to get some clarification on. It has come up in multiple committees that this program costs a little bit more than we previously have paid for this type of program. And so I was hoping you could explain to the community what we're getting for that.
In short, a much more robust program. We've studied the Wayfinder over the course of this year, along with other programs. We had a committee of teachers who really looked at a wide array of resources that could be used for social emotional learning. And social emotional learning, like any curriculum resource adoption, is something that is addressed every few years, where we analyze what programs are out there and what can we do to support our students. So throughout the course of the committee, the work was about evaluating what resources were out there, as well as piloting them. And we also integrated that feedback into our our student life board advisory meeting, where we had students talk about how our previous resources, Character Plus and Second Step, were significantly stale. They felt like they were redundant, lacked the engagement that was necessary, whereas Wayfinder, which is the program that's being recommended tonight, is significantly more robust, more engaging for students. It has a variety of resources that can be used, not just for social emotional learning that would happen in PAC classes, flyer time, and class meetings at the elementary level, but also for our guidance counselors and supporting the guidance curriculum, as well as health curriculum. So it's got a lot of threads that are going to be able to support multiple areas of student learning.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'll just agree, I was at the student life meeting. This program, it doesn't have silly songs that make kids roll their eyes, so it was superior.
All right, thank you. Are there any other further requests or declarations? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the April 14th, 2026 consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Julia and a second by Megan. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0 with the record reflecting that Andy Lawson is abstaining from the portion of the financial report regarding Ameren Electric, and Julia Voss is abstaining from the portion of item 9.04 regarding her mileage reimbursement. Okay, moving on to 10.0, individual action items. We do have one this evening. It is the Southwest Food Service Excellence SFE contract renewal. To open discussion, do I have a motion to approve the amendment of the contract between Lindbergh Schools and Southwest Foods Excellence SFE for July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027, and authorize administration to enter into this contract as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion by Andy and a second by Christy. Are there any discussions or questions, or Joelle, is there anything you would like to add?
I just want to say this is an annual item that we bring to the board. We do have a 5-year contract with SFE, but each year we bring, the fees go up. Usually there's a fee increase. As a reminder, as far as SFE and contracting out food service, we just pay them a fee per meal. If it's an a la carte item, that total sales on a la carte are converted to a meal equivalent factor. That formula comes from DESI and the USDA, so that's not a number SFE makes up. But we pay them on that meal count, and you can see those cents are down there. They did go up a little bit over the prior year. Other than that, all the food service revenue, and I like to state this at this meeting, we get all the food service revenue that's deposited into our bank. What we do on a monthly basis is they bill us for the expenditures, so we're reimbursing them for the expenditures, and then we're paying them a management fee based on the number of meals served. But the meal costs and everything that surrounds the meal program is a district operated program. They're just a resource for us. So, and we think they do a great job. It's a big program.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Okay, we'll put it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0. Moving on to reports, we do have 4 reports this evening. Board of Education Agenda Planner for review. The first reading of board policies AD, AF, BBA, BBAA, BCE, BDDG, BF, BI, BJ, BDDG-R1. Board members can reach out to Dr. McKinney with any questions prior to approval requests for next month. We do have another one, literacy plan for review. Any questions that you might have on that can go to Dr. Tara Sparks. And then we have an A to F report card presentation, and Dr. Sparks will present on that.
Testing. There we go. Okay. Must have had a delay. I am sharing with you some preliminary information. As a reminder, the legislative session is still going on for a very short time. I think we wrap up tomorrow. So we will know more about where we land in an A through F report card tomorrow. So what I'm really doing is giving you a little bit of background information, some preparation to understand what is likely coming. So as we move to the next slide, to kind of frame how we got here, last December, one of our state Board of Education members said that they would like to see 90% of the annual performance report to be based in student data specifically. As a reminder, currently our annual performance report is approximately 70% student data with another 30% around continuous improvement. So there was a request from a state board member to reconsider how accountability works in the state of Missouri for public education. Then when Governor Kehoe came into office, his first executive order was to look at what is being classified as an A through F report card, which would go in conjunction with an APR. So basically we would have 2 separate reports, our annual performance report plus another A through F report card that would be a way to, in essence, rank public schools across the state of Missouri. That then was followed by a couple of bills that were submitted in both the House and the Senate. What I have bolded here for you are Governor Kehoe's executive order as well as House Bill 2710. Those are the ones that have gotten the most traction around what is likely to be coming forward from this legislative cycle and from the governor's office. So as we go to the next slide, this graphic, I have to give credit to one of our colleagues, Matt Goodman, who is Director of Research in Pattonville. He has been leading the education of our region around what is happening with the A through F report card. And what you'll note here is on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see kind of what's specifically in the executive order. On the right-hand side of the graphic, you can see what's in House Bill 2710. And then in the center is where they align. So again, we're looking at the fact that we are grading schools and school districts, so that's an important thing to note. Individual schools will get a grade, as will school districts, on an A through F scale. The bill has evolved over the course of the legislative cycle. Right now, what we know, or what we knew at the time that I put this together, was that only 10% of schools could be designated as an A school. So for instance, and that also includes districts, there are approximately 520 school districts in the state of Missouri. Only 52 could be designated as A schools. Excellent. So no matter if you met the criteria to be excellent or not, it wouldn't matter. Only the top 10% would be classified in that way. Similarly to schools, if there are 2,000 elementary schools, I just made that up, I don't know how many elementary schools there are, then only 10% or 200 of those could be designated as an A school. So that is going to be a significant difference than what we see in things like the APR currently, which is a matter of what are the points that you have earned. This will be allocated in percentiles.
Can I ask a question about
yes.
that real quick? I see too on this slide that private schools can opt in, so could that potentially raise the number as well? If we had private schools also opting into this, that 10% would then also apply to those additional schools?
Correct. Any number of schools is going to change that 10%. The other things you'll notice is in our current APR, our academic achievement is based on two things. Where are students currently in terms of their academic achievement in meeting proficiency, but then also that value add. And if you remember, I talk about that each time I present at the APR to you. There are challenges with the value add, because if a school does very well one year, then they are expected to do even better than they did the previous year. So we get kind of this yo-yo effect in our APR. So one of the things that this legislation and this executive order say is that there will also be a growth to proficiency. We will look at students' scores over the past 2 years and say, what is the likelihood that they will get to proficient by the end of 5th grade, by the end of 8th grade as well. So it is meant to be a way to kind of balance out that value add metric, and it adds another metric to be able to consider students being on track for proficiency in their grade spans. One of the other things to make note of in the House Bill 2710 is there are incentives, financial incentives for districts and teachers who do well. This Show Me Success funding. I'm not sure where that funding is going to come from. That is a whole different conversation when we talk about the legislative process. And then just how to be transparent. There's a lot of transparency focus within these elements, and so public disclosure, when information would be provided to us, et cetera. Again, a lot of this is preliminary. We will know as the legislative process wraps up, Governor Kehoe becomes involved. As we go into the next slide, this just kind of gives, again, some of those very clear metrics that are required as a part of either one of these. So I already mentioned this student growth to proficiency measures, being able to look to see if kids are on track to get to proficiency and what that would look like. That would work for K-8. So we can score elementary and middle schools, and this is where requirement 2 comes into play. We can score elementary and middle schools in that way. But if you remember, at the high school level, you only have one end of course assessment that exists in government, in English 2, algebra, et cetera, biology. So you can't have that same metric at the high school level. So the high school is going to be based on overall student performance, still the value add, but the value add is going to be based on, your government assessment is going to be based on how well you did on your 8th grade math, ELA, and science are as to whether or not there's a value add. It is a very complicated. I see your face, Julia. I feel the same way about that value add.
How does that equate? It just doesn't.
It does not. It does not. But that is the way the state has designated, determining that there is a value add at the high school level. They look at those 8th grade assessments for kids, and even though they're completely different content areas, they are used as the metric to guide that. Did you want to add something? Okay, perfect. I feel like we have commentary coming. And then the final requirement is really just about the fact, it's acknowledging the fact that there will be the district level scores as well as the individual school scores. And so at the high school level, that will take into account more success-ready measures like graduation rates, our CTE programming, how many students are participating in those, our ACT, AccuPlacer, those college readiness assessments, that all comes into play as well. And then as we go to the next slide, this is the projected or predicted timeline. Please know that this can change at any time. We do not expect that this is going to come into play for the 26-27 school year. We expect there's going to be a lot of development work that happens over the next month. There's going to be feedback loops at the state level that happen later in the summer before the board of Education at the state level has the ability to approve the plan in August. And there will be no way for them to look at this year's data and to meet the benchmarks for when those reports have to be released. So the expectation is we might have simulated drafts with this year's test data that we would have access to in the winter, but it wouldn't be until fall 2027 that we would see the first publication of which schools are A, B, C, D, F. So, in our final slide, what questions do you have that I will try to answer, but I don't know that I have all of the information. You said like 10% will be allowed to get an A. Are there percentages for other? I did not have clarity from the information that I have. A lot of this will really flesh out once they finalize either the House Bill 2710 or they marry it with the executive order.
At one point when we were talking about it, there was something for the Bs too, but I'm really not sure if that stayed or not.
There have been evolutions of this. At one point, they said that if there were 65% of schools that had an A or B, they would up the expectations for what would be the next level. So this has really ebbed and flowed over the course of the legislative cycle. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't know,
You were
I'm
already
thinking.
done. Okay. I will say, as unhappy as all of this makes me, right? MSBA did call out the fact that House Bill 2710 is much better than the executive order. So it was if we did nothing, that was going to be really bad. So they did
Although
something.
an executive order is easier to turn around, and this is not well thought out to anybody who is listening and should need to be turned around. So if it's an executive order, at least they can turn it around easier.
And I would add that when we're looking at this, we're talking about a single assessment of what students know and can be and are able to do, right? And so whenever we're looking at student data, we always want to triangulate multiple pieces of evidence about a student's learning to tell the full picture of a student. We are looking specifically K-8 at the MAP test.
Yep.
So one metric that is going to determine the ranking of schools across the state of Missouri. When you get into high school, there are a few other assessments that come into play, but still, to base the success of student learning experiences on one assessment is a noteworthy and concerning thing to do.
And can I just add for anybody listening who might have any kind of pull here, that pitting the schools against each other on a curve is not doing what's best for kids. Every kid in every school can learn and do better. And when you pit the schools against each other, you take the focus away from making what is right for kids the focus to making what's right for our grade the focus. And it's not right for kids, and it's not right for Missouri.
Well said.
Well, and my other thought too is, okay, so they put these report cards out, then what? Like, what is the state going to do with this information? If they say that a school district is failing, are they coming in to help that school district? What are they doing to support these school districts?
Well, and I would argue that when that has happened, when the state has come in to support the school districts, has it really helped?
Also, too, there's other states that have implemented this, and then they're reversing it. So there's a
Yeah,
trend
that's what I was gonna
for
say.
that, too.
There are states moving away from this and seeing it. I think Utah, I know specifically, is one of those states that has had it for a long time and has moved away from it. And then I shared this with the board that our commissioner of DESE, basically 2 years onto the job, has announced her resignation earlier this week. She will be resigning June 30th. And so this is going to require a lot of thoughtful implementation, but DESE right now will be in influx. I think there's probably going to be some other positions announced that people are going to be leaving DESE as well. So we'll see where it goes. We've been giving you updates through the Friday packet, but I just wanted, for the public, I wanted there to be some place that if people start talking about this, we can send them to this presentation so they can hear Tara's presentation.
The other question I have too, sorry, I have one more. How do we administer this? Like, how do we keep track of this? Are we gonna be adding staff? Is there more time? What is our part as a district to try to meet this?
It's based on our current
Like you
metrics
foresee.
currently. So it's based on our MAP test score, it's based on our end of course exams, our college readiness assessments. So we've been doing all of that work. Like anything, right? We always want to support the growth and the learning of our students. The board has invested a lot. You know, we hired a math coordinator this year. So continuing to just evaluate where are those gaps that we have for our in student learning and closing those gaps.
Well, and to kind of marry your two comments together, as a public school teacher in Utah a few years back, a part of this program, Tara, when you were speaking about how you're not only graded on the district, but the schools, when you're pitting schools within a district together too, it is also very bad for kids because that is your community.
Yes.
And so when you have a kid from one school saying, well, we're an A, and then we have a kid from another school saying, well, we're a C, that just creates so much ickiness within a district as well. And so it's, you know, and I saw it in Salt Lake City School District, in the public school district when I worked there, and it's not good.
Well, and we've talked about this a lot. Why put a cap on, if the state says this is the bar you gotta hit, it's like a driver's license, right? There's criteria if whatever the criteria is, if you can meet it, why can't 60% of the schools meet it if that's what it is? And, you know, but changing and renorming things just because 10% got there in like a 2-year window, that's what they do with the APR on us, they move that goal line. Just say every 10 years, we're gonna raise the bar. I'm all about raising the bar and pushing and getting better, but let's not put a cap on who can reach that, and let's give people time to do that. And so anyways, it's a moving target. You know us, we're gonna do our best, and our kids will do great, and our teachers will do great, and you know, we'll be there, but public school right now it's under attack in Missouri for sure. Lots of things coming at us from funding and different things like that. And so
This is basically a 1 to N rating hidden underneath letter grades. That's all this is. There's no two schools that are number one, and that's the same. They've just hidden the math behind the letters.
I have a question. Earlier you said that like the MAP test would be what it's used. Is DESE still looking at replacing the MAP test?
That funding has been removed.
Okay.
Of course it has.
So the the Success Student Ready Network that we were a part of no longer is going to be funded. So
instead of developing a test that would measure student growth achievement that we could use in real time and actually hold a standard to and see how students are doing, they're instead doing something that is going to rip the schools apart. Thank you, Missouri.
I will say this, they are looking at they're taking their state test and doing it, giving smaller portions of it throughout the year, but it's not like our iReady where it's measuring growth, where we give an assessment where a student, where should they be at the end of 3rd grade, and then watching that kid grow. So, and measuring that along the way. So it's, you know, it's like I said, you know, between the funding and, you know, just everything that's going on, it's a constant. And There is a graphic out there. We've shared that with you. I will be sharing it with our community a lot next year. Public schools has been the most legislated industry in the state of Missouri for the last 5 or 6 years. The number of bills that are filed in Jeff City about public ed outweighs by far any other sector or industry in our society right now.
I will say that all of this just, as frustrating as it is, it just highlights the importance of the efforts that we put into transparency and we put into capturing the metrics that really matter and telling the story of success that is Lindbergh, right? It comes down to the work, Beth, you guys are doing in communications and all of the efforts you guys are putting into having that unified message of look at how good we are doing, regardless of how they want to twist it and turn it to their own narrative. We just have to get louder and get over it to say, that doesn't matter. That's not a thing, because you wouldn't have Moleg educate your child. I wouldn't, just based off of what I've seen come out of Jeff City. I will absolutely have Lindbergh educate all of my children.
Yeah, but when Jeff City is taking away funding from the school district, then what do we do?
Jeff City promises funding and doesn't give it to us anyway. Jeff City has yet to do anything they say they're going to do with the funding that they're supposed to have.
I have a question about the ending or the pulling of the funding from SS. I already forgot the initials.
SRSN.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Was there an opportunity for that committee to put together some final report, or did the work just stop?
The work has not fully stopped. There's still some support from the Kauffman Foundation out of Kansas City that's going to help guide some of this work. It's really the assessment side of it that's no longer getting support, but there's a lot. There is a groundswell of support around people who see the potential in public education and how we can continue to grow learning opportunities for students. It's the work that we're doing with real world learning, right? So continuing to really emphasize how we can have competency-based real world learning experiences that really help to make students successful beyond us. So we're going to continue to do that work even without the funding that would be coming out of Jefferson City.
I would say that group, the Mike Fulton is one of them that's led this work for the last 3 or 4 years with us. They've presented to the new State Board of Education, and I would say the question always gets, well, how do I measure that? How do I measure that? You know, when we talk about real world learning, and you guys have heard me many times say, not everything that counts or matters in education has to have a number beside it. You can see, I can walk into a classroom and I can see if those students are doing it. You're going to tell me that we may not have a numerical metric for our students at the Farmers Club when they're there, and you're going to tell me learning's not going to take place on that property? Are you going to tell me that our nursing, when you walk into our CNA program, or you walk into drone aviation, or all of those types of programs, those real world learning opportunities, learning is happening. But right now we have really shifted back to the early 2000s of No Child Left Behind, of test score, test score, test score, test score. That has to be a part of it. Tara mentioned it earlier. Triangulate the data. Are our kids doing what they need to academically? Let's get them those skills, and then let's let them go into the real world and learn and apply those skills. But we are in right now a wave of shifting that the work we've been doing for the last 8 years a little bit backwards.
So related to that, and if anybody has a suggestion, because I'm just not thinking of it right now, I'm curious to know how much state money was put towards that program that now, you know, that would be a legislator question, I'm guessing, and probably wouldn't get it.
I think it's more on the assessment development side, so those would have been DESE funds specifically allocated for that, but I don't know offhand.
And DESE asked for it. I mean, when you hear Dr. Esslinger, who's now resigning, speak, she would tell you that work that the Success Ready Student Network was doing is the work we need to be doing. The competency-based, skill-based type of education for our students. And there are parts of our country that have been doing it. The northeast part of our country has been doing it forever. And, it's, and again, we just will continue to do what we think is best for our students and do the best thing we can for them.
Lindbergh will succeed in spite of Missouri, not because of Missouri. Sorry.
Are we going to continue then doing like the iReady test and
Yes.
tracking our students? So we're
Yes.
just going to continue our path that we have set forth, and whatever this is will just be what it is.
Correct. iReady is an instructional tool for our teachers. It's a way for us to measure learning growth over time and impact, and to provide interventions and supports for students. There are other elements that are happening in Jefferson City right now that we're watching very closely, and I'm crossing my fingers, don't cross the finish line tomorrow, that really, to Dr. Lake's point, put a single metric back on the radar. Specifically, there's some reading. There is a reading bill out there that is very punitive for students, and very concerning. I have not heard the latest update. I don't know if you know anything about it.
So no, I have not. I've not gotten an urgent message to, contact people about any piece of legislation that's moving forward right now. But and we said this, 8 years ago. We're going to share and look at the MAP data, but I just want to remind people that information is an autopsy. Take it in the spring, those kids have moved on. If you parents in Lindbergh, I'm speaking to you, you want to hold your teacher and us and me and everybody accountable at this dais right here, it's those growth assessments that we give your students, where your kid starts at the beginning of the year and we grow, and we want to celebrate those successes, because not every kid, the light bulb doesn't always turn on right away, but eventually if we're encouraging and we're showing that growth and we're moving them in that direction, they will eventually get there. And so we'll keep doing what we're doing. So,
Is there still any talk about clarifying what basic means on the test? Because the top part of basic is grade level.
Yeah, there was a thought that they would try to get that out with this year's, actually with last year's MAP assessment. That was not viable. So I assume we're still on track for that. That was legislated, so it should be on track to happen in this fall release of data.
Okay, because I don't want to, we're relying on test scores that aren't really telling the whole truth anyway. It's making kids who got in the top part of basic think that they're failing, and they're not. They're fine. Proficient, it is great. We want all kids to be proficient, but the top of basic isn't failing.
Right. All right. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Tara.
My heart rate
for
is just
Thanks, Tara. That was
downrange
just,
while we
This
process
was all
it.
downhill after ECE, kids.
Yes,
Now we know
absolutely.
why you wanted to stay sitting.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, we took a turn there, so I think it's time to move on to closed session, but we've already conducted our closed session, so we get to excitingly move on to 13.0, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn board meeting 1635?
So moved.
Second.
I'm gonna give
Third.
it to Jen and Christine, no, Julia, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0. Board meeting 1635 is adjourned.